Hey guys, this is Caleb with DSLR Video Shooter, and today we're going to take a look at a 7-inch monitor that's capable of taking a 4K signal and has a ton of assist features. So today we're looking at the Feelworld F7 monitor. In the box, you'll find the monitor itself, a cold shoe ball mount, an NPF 970 battery plate, the sunshade and sunshade bracket, as well as a couple HDMI cables. Now this is a 7-inch IPS LED backlit panel. I always like to see the IPS in the stats, meaning that you'll have a better viewing angle depending on where you're standing looking at the monitor. And there's two other specs that are really awesome with this thing. First of all, the resolution is 1920 by 1200, meaning that it natively supports 1080p signals, and you'll be able to see a lot more from your camera on this monitor. The other thing is that it supports 4K signals or UHD signals. So a lot of monitors will work just fine with 4K cameras, but when you hook them up, you'll get a message often saying that it has to downscale the image to the monitor, and often that'll give you a crop, especially on Panasonic cameras. And sometimes the camera processing that and downscaling it for the monitor is going to hinder autofocus and some other functions. So having a monitor that states it can accept a 4K signal is a great option. For inputs, we have a couple different options. We have an HDMI in and an HDMI out, so you can do HDMI pass-through on this monitor. There's also a headphone jack, and you can control the volume of the monitor, which is going to be great for cameras without headphone jacks. The volume gets pretty high, so you can really, hear what's going on. A lot of monitors don't let you control the output, so there is a small amp in here, which is really nice. It is very noisy though, so that's kind of a problem because you can't accurately hear what the camera is hearing, but it will let you know when you peak, and you'll be able to hear a lot of that stuff, but there will kind of be a staticky hiss essentially. On the top right of the screen, we have a battery level indicator, which is very accurate and lets us know how our battery is doing. The boot time on this monitor is pretty fast, so I'll go ahead and power it up for you so you can see how long it takes. I have had a lot of other monitors that support 4K signals, and they usually take a long time, but as we can see, not too shabby for a 4K input monitor. On the top of the monitor, we have a power button, 3 function buttons, and a menu button / dial, which works really well. This monitor is loaded with features, so we have several different options for making changes to the monitor, calibrating it, and all the assist features, which is exhaustive of a list on this thing. The F7 sports a histogram, pixel-to-pixel, focus assist, several different framing and center marks, safe areas, false color, zebras, check field, image flip, camera mode, image freeze, scan mode, color temperature, zoom, and anamorphic modes. Out of all those, there's a couple I want to focus on that I really dig. First, I love that you can turn audio levels on this camera, so you can actually see where your levels are landing, and that's an awesome feature if you're using a camera that doesn't have a headphone jack or doesn't really have nice audio meters. The next one is the false color, which is a great way to check exposure, and on this monitor, it's really good. There's a lot of really bad false colors out there. So on this monitor, they have a nice little bar on the right-hand side letting you know what color represents what exposure on an IRE scale, so 100 being white, 0 being black. This monitor does have peaking, but like many monitors and cameras, I don't prefer to use it just because it's not always the most accurate option, but it does work pretty well for a peaking mode. There's a high and low setting, and you can change the color, which is really nice. The next two functions that are really handy is the zoom and the pixel to pixel or P2P. Pixel to pixel will do a full scale blow up of your image. So if you have a 4K image, you're going to see a 1080, square in the center of that image, which is great for checking focus. Unfortunately, you can't move it around, but it still is a great option to see the full size res of your image. Zoom is very similar, except it actually zooms in even further. So as you tap the button, it'll toggle through several different zoomed options. The image on this monitor is incredible. I really can't show you through a video how good it is, but it is so easy and clear to see what's in focus, what's not in focus. And when you go from using mainly the camera screen to something like a 7-inch monitor, it's amazing how much more you see and how much more you notice. You're going to pick up all kinds of different things in your image, your lighting, focus, as well as composition, which is always really great when using such a large monitor. As much as I love this monitor, there's a couple things that bugged me, and I want to get to those now. The first thing is when you turn the monitor off, there's still an LED light on, which is telling us that it's going to continue to drain the battery even when the monitor is not in use. So you're going to have to remove the battery from the monitor if you want to preserve whatever life is left in your battery. The other thing is the HDMI placement. It's right underneath the monitor with all the other I/O options, but it's right next to the mount for your quarter 20, which is a real bummer, and I found it very difficult to mount this in certain areas. You could fix that with a 90-degree HDMI adapter, but definitely something to keep in mind if you're picking this guy up. The other thing I didn't really care for is the speaker on the unit. It's tied with the headphone jack, so when you turn it on for the first time, you might hear some sound loops because the speaker's on. You can mute it, but that mutes the headphone jack. So, you have to plug something into the headphone jack for the speaker to turn off, unless you mute everything and you don't use a headphone jack. To solve this, I plugged a really small little splitter into the headphone jack, and that acts like headphones, so the speaker was deactivated, and I could still plug headphones in and listen to the sound. The last thing that kind of bugged me with this monitor is the signal delay. It's not terrible, but it's definitely there, and you can see it when you compare it to the camera monitor. So final thoughts, if you have $100 to spend and you're looking for a 7-inch monitor, this is a fantastic option. And the reason I'm doing this review is to show you guys an option of how much or how far $200 can go. But I also have several monitor videos coming up. One is going to be what to look for in a monitor when you're shopping. And the other one is going to be 10 or so monitors from $100 to $200, giving you guys several different options depending on the camera you have and your price point. So that is my review of the Feelworld F7. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment below, and I will see you guys in the next video.